Alright, so in this video I'll be covering a lot of changes to control. I mean, one minor change you'll notice is that the vehicles now no longer draw as if they're players, but that's a minor one. Otherwise, the control, somebody mentioned in the last video I uploaded that the control looked like it was a bit high, and it was. The carving control specifically is what I'm talking about. It was a bit high, and that was because it didn't fall off as you sped up. The control now, it falls off as your speed increases. There also is a tiny bit of air control. I'll demonstrate that here. You have to be going at a very low speed to really even notice that it exists. But how it works is it works off of your velocity vector, and it, unlike the control, the carving control, it falls off at a squared rate, which means that it becomes very useless very quickly. I explicitly put in this form of air control just as a low speed aid for, I mean, specifically what happens is in a situation, let's say, where you clip an overhang or something along those lines and you're aiming for a ledge that's underneath the overhang. If the ledge and the overhang are lined up in the same vertical, without air control, it's very hard to actually make the landing. You'd have to remember to re-engage lateral jets, and that's just one extra step I'd rather have to avoid. So now there's a little bit of air control, and as I said, it falls off very quickly. That was a bad approach. It's one of these things. These maps are actually okay maps for jetpacks and skiing. But anyhow, those are the main changes. I'll load up, because by request, I'll load up the see, I'm at 160 on this map of this size. It really becomes hard to control yourself. One thing I will say is the lateral jets seem pretty strong, like to the point where I think they could be too strong. But anyhow, I'll load up the big map because somebody requested it. Here we go.
You are red.
And here on the big map, this I can just showcase the skiing system a little bit. It works pretty well. The issue at the moment is I'm still working out the limits here on terrain. And what I can say is that on relatively flat terrain, like these kind of molehills and such down here, it does really well. Even on the upslopes, you normally can jump. The main issues seem to crop up on slopes that are steeper than, let's call it 15 degrees or so. And at that point, transitions between just polygons as you're walking, that can cause issues where it causes dead stops is really what it does. But it's a result of transitioning between the walking system and then just standard falling. The collision types are different. So that's something I'll be actively working on trying to solve, because it does prevent upslope jumping. Because at the moment, downslope jumping works absolutely fine. Just because you're pointing away from the slope when you jump in the first place, the walking system and the engine itself has no problems. So I'm looking at ways to just make it to where it's like the walking, or rather like the transition when you're going down a slope. So, but that's the primary problem here. If we in the next demo release, I'm not planning on including this map in it, just because it's not. Even though at this point there have been some things solved to where you can now ski around the map pretty well. And this is actually a pretty good demonstration here. I'm going 300 ups, or rather, these aren't ups. These are kph. That was another change I made, is that the speedometer, by default, I'm going to have it register in kph from now on. So let's look at this thing. I'm giving a Bugatti Veyron a run for its money. But anyhow, that's really it for this video. Somebody wanted to see what it looked like on terrain, and this is it on terrain. Otherwise, you saw the control changes. There have been a lot of weapon changes and such, to the point that when a lot of people pick up the game, it's all the changes. It's just velocity, inheritance type for one of the weapons, the grenade launcher, and then just some basic changes to behavior. A lot of fixes, just looking at math in general type deal. But anyhow, expect a tech demo update. Pretty much I've laid out the plans for the netcode and that's my maybe weekend project. We'll see how it goes. But that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, you can of course post them on the game forums or in the YouTube comments. Otherwise, this video has been extremely long, and thanks for watching.